Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the podcast Retro Life for You. This is actually a special edition of the podcast. This is for our YouTube page only, where we are now starting to do some extra content that's not just 80s movies. We are 1980s everything that's retro, right, Marty?
That is right. We are
Yeah.
retro everything.
Retro everything. So we're going to start getting into some more things. Tonight we're going to do a TV show that we grew up loving, but we're going to have in the future some more TV shows, different types of them, some things on music, some things on sports. I personally plan on having like a retro wrestling um, little segment
Mhm.
to be this own playlist and everything to be talking about as well. So all kinds of things that are retro from the childhood, maybe toys and collectibles and things as well and such. Which this man will be a part of some of that, I'm sure, because all about them Star Wars.
That's right. All about
Yes,
them Star Wars.
all about them Star. The Force is strong within him. We'll say that.
That's right.
So, what? Welcome back, Marty. Been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Well,
What's the
last
last? What's the
time
last one we did?
last time I was on, we had very good time with Maximum Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive. Okay. I was thinking, was it Maximum Overdrive or was it The Fog? It was Maximum Overdrive, though.
Mhm.
All right. And it was a very good movie, too.
Oh yeah.
Well, tonight, like I said, we're going for some extra content for the YouTube page, and we're going on a television show tonight. So this is not going to be found on the podcast, on the audio podcast. So if you're looking for us on iTunes or Spotify for this episode, you're not going to find anything on there. This is just strictly for the YouTube page, trying to promote more views for YouTube, of course, and bring more entertainment and more different stuff for that you can enjoy. So uh, tonight, we're doing a show that debuted January 23rd of 1983. It debuted after the Super Bowl, and it's a popular little show known as the A Team.
Mhm.
Something we grew up loving as young guys and everything.
Oh
Very,
yeah.
very fun show to watch. And I thought what we do, Marty, to start off with, is that we might go ahead and share the intro to the show
Mhm.
as it
Uh,
was. It's been, like I said, a long time since it's been on television.
And to tell you the truth, this intro and my favorite intros of all the '80s shows back in the day. This one had to be my top number one, and then my top number two was Knight Rider. So
Oh yeah, yeah, good stuff for sure. Um, but we'll go ahead and play this real quick and let the people who are watching take a peek at this. For those of you who've never seen it, this is the 18. For those of you who used to love it like we did, just enjoy. I mean, it's very reminiscing, very fun to remember. Here we go.
10 years ago, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
I pity the fool.
All right, there we go. The A Team, 1983. Um, One of the most memorable intro songs. And Marty, shows back then, anything from the action shows to your comedies, your sitcoms, they all had great intro themes to them.
Mhm.
Nowadays, when you're watching some of these shows, I mean,
They don't have any intro song. They just
You're
And
lucky.
they just show the title of the show,
Yeah,
and that's it. And then he goes right into the show.
dude, you're lucky. You're lucky if you get anything that gives you any kind of intro music.
But the sad thing about it is the only thing that I could really think of that nowadays even has a slight reminiscence of intro songs are all the cartoons that are on at nighttime.
Yeah,
The Simpsons, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers. I mean, oh, just those shows have intros.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And I tell you what, we'll do toward the end of the show. As we're talking about how the show, I don't want to say advanced, but as it moved forward throughout the years, there were some changes in the intro. The intro song, uh,
mm,
the biggest one being season five's intro. Um, the rest of them were just, small things. I believe, like at the beginning, where he gets done talking, and you hear
yeah,
you
you
know,
hear the guns firing.
you hear
Yeah.
the gunfire. There'll be four holes that pop up, and those signify, the four members of the team or something. But it didn't have that in the first season. Uh, Debuted out though, it was one of the very popular show. It went real high in the ratings. Um, they found Mr. T from somewhere. I forget where it was that they spotted him when they first found him, but they liked his look. They liked the way he would fit in with the group and everything.
What
Mainly it was his look that sold him on him. And I don't know if it was a movie he was in or
wasn't
they
it?
saw him in something
Wasn't
else.
it? Didn't they spot him in either that maybe Taxi or
The DC Cab.
oh yeah, Dixie Cab. Yeah,
No, DC.
DC Cab. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. He was in DC Cab, and I think he was in one other movie.
yeah.
But I don't remember which came first though. If it was DC Cab, but right before A Team, or if he was in the A Team and did DC Cab during an off season or something. I don't know which it was.
Hmm.
But they spotted him and seen him and liked him. They brought George Papard in um, because of his acting chops. He had a big career in acting. He's in Breakfast at Tiffany's. He was in Galaxy of the Stars, I think it was called. Have you seen that one?
Is that the one that's got John Boy in it?
He's in it. Robert Vaughn's in it as well. George
Yeah,
Papard's in it. Yeah. I don't remember ever watching it, but it's like a big Star Wars ripoff, it looks like. But
yeah,
only
yeah. That's
done
a real big rip off of Star
only it's
Wars.
done so much worse, I mean,
Mhm.
it was terrible. Uh, they
Well,
originally
one of my favorite George Papard movies was and it was a TV movie. It was the movie where they were cruising around in that big vehicle after they had dropped like a bunch of nuclear bombs on America, and I think the movie was called The Day After Tomorrow, but
I
it was
don't
a TV movie.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and dude, you talk about good. That was that was the one movie that made me remember, George Papard. So just from that movie.
Well, I do remember him from Breakfast at Tiffany's. I do remember him from that. Now I didn't watch, like I said, Galaxy of the Stars, so I can't say that I remember him from that. Matter
Uh,
of fact, matter of
I
fact,
waited an hour and 30 minutes, but yeah, I have seen it. So
time in your life that was lost. You're saying?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Me and Travis were doing a show on something. I forget what it was. I think it was called The Arena that we did. And he was talking about how he seen his preview when he was looking up Arena. And it's called Battle of the Stars. Have you seen it? I'm like, no. Dude, it's got like Hannibal from the A Team in it, and the guy from the fifth season, the last season, Robert Vaughn, and all these people in it. Man, it's like a terrible ripoff of Star Wars. You got to look at this. And I was like, man, that is such a very cheesy looking movie. I mean,
Yeah, it's super cheese.
I will eventually see it. I'm not going to say I'm not going to watch it, and we might even do a show on it. Just say hey, because we've done shows on things we like to bring out some of these movies that we know people probably haven't seen. That's why we did The Arena and why we did Enemy Territory, because I don't think people has probably seen these. especially the arena. It's one of those movies, and surprisingly, it was a late '80s movie, not an early '80s, like it looked like. The special effects were not that great in it, but the movie wasn't that bad though. I mean, intergalactic fights, like boxing slash wrestling matches or whatever. I mean, it was not bad at all. And the movie that we did also, Enemy Territory, was my pick about this guy that gets stuck in a apartment housing overnight. Well, the deal was if you get caught in there after dark, the local gang runs everything at night. You ain't getting in or out, especially this guy, because Tony Todd was the lead actor for the gang. They were
The
called
late great.
late great Tony Todd passed away way too soon.
Yeah.
Way too soon. Now back to the cast. I mean, we know where they got George Papard. Originally, Face was played by a guy named Tim Dunnigan or Dunigan or Dunnigan. I don't know how he pronounces his last name, but Dunigan. They went with him on the very first episode of season one. It was called Mexican Sleigh Ride.
Mhm.
They had to recast him. They said that these are supposed to be Vietnam veterans here we're dealing with. And Vietnam was over in his sophomore year of high school. He was not very believable as far as his age. So
Exactly.
his youth, and they also threw out the fact he was too tall. So he probably overshadowed some of the Papard and Mr. T. Which funny enough, did you know those two didn't get along together at all?
I heard something about where like the first two seasons they got along pretty good, but by the third season, by the fourth season,
It was
and
the
by
end of the
the fifth, yeah, by the fifth they were just ready to start fighting each other.
it was the end of the
Yeah.
first season. End of the first season, the dislike really started standing out. But it was reported, according to the cast members, the remaining cast members who are still alive, that Mr. T and George Papard did not get along. Papard was your proper movie actor, but Mr. T became the real star of the series.
hmm
When you think of the A
But
Team,
because of his one-liners, man. I mean,
look, when you think of A Team, what's we were laughing about this earlier. What were we doing?
uh, pity.
I pity the
Boom.
fool. Right? I mean, Mr. T had these one liners and stuff. Ain't got time for no jibber jabber.
hmm And
And all these
and
things
he's all like, "You stick me with that needle again, we're gonna be fighting,
yeah, we're gonna
fighting,
be
man.
fighting.
You hear me?"
So I mean, they didn't get along well at all by the end of the first season. It was like the second season on, they had to try and keep the peace between them, keep them separated. Just, I mean, at least they were professional enough they could pull off the acting and look like they got along.
Yeah,
I'll,
exactly.
I'll, I'll give them credit for that. But they said George Papard, before the A Team came out, was listed as somebody who was hard to work with. And this was pretty much his last shot at something, because originally he was scheduled to be on Dynasty before he got this, playing a father on Dynasty, but he wasn't believable enough as a father figure.
Man.
So they cut him out. And that was his last ditch effort, the A Team, getting back on television and such, to be relevant for a while. His movies were already, been and gone. He hadn't done anything really big before that, or I mean, in a little bit before that. And the A Team kind of set him off on a new era of fandom for people. People who didn't know who he was now knew him as Hannibal Smith,
Hannibal Smith, yeah,
who, quote, loves it when a plan comes together.
that's right.
So now, when they had to recast Face, they ended up going with Dirk Benedict, which I thought was perfect for the role, perfect on the show. He's a way better Face than the other guy would have been. I'm glad they made that move. His previous experience was in
Battle,
Battlestar Galactica.
Galactica, yeah.
What do you call
Starbucks,
him? Starbuck.
Starbucks,
There
yeah.
you go, Starbuck. And it's funny. It's not the first season. I think it started the second season when the intro came out there with a couple of new cutscenes in it. You see Face
Yeah,
at the
that's
at the
the
movie lot.
Universal Studios, yeah.
Yeah, and he's waiting for Hannibal to come by, and you see a Cylon go walking by, which,
And
for
he
reference, is what
points
was
like,
in.
"Hey, I know you."
Yeah, right. And for reference, a Cylon was were the bad guys in Battlestar Galactica. So it's
Mhm.
kind of like a shout out back to his prior show, and he's looking at his paper and he just stops, like Marty said, and he's like, his mouth drops open and he points. And
Yeah.
he's like,
He's like,
"Mm,"
I know
he's like,
you.
but he's shaking his head like, no.
Nah.
And then you find Hannibal shortly afterwards.
Mm.
I'm not sure where they found Dwight Schultz. If he beat anybody in particular out for the role. I know obviously he
He
auditioned.
was perfect for that role.
Right, and obviously he auditioned and got it, and they thought about cutting out the role of Howling Mad Murdock before it got going, and just having the three. But
It wouldn't have been the same.
well, and here's the thing: the fans that they previewed this in front of, the people that the crowds that they previewed this show in front of, loved Howling Mad Murdock the best of all the characters.
Mhm.
They thought there's no way we can cut him; we got to keep him then. Which was smart because Murdoch was a great part of the show.
And the
And
thing is, Murdoch and BA, they played off of each other so well.
oh yeah, the two
So
characters,
yeah, the two characters.
because they
Because
act like they don't. I mean, Mr. T or BA acts like he don't like Murdoch, right? But in
yeah,
reality, he does. They're like brothers.
yeah.
Murdoch also, funny enough, the character Murdoch, despite the fact that he's in the VA hospital for they say his insanity, um, his character is almost genius level aptitude. I'm sorry, looking to the side. I'm reading off the other screen here.
Hmm.
But he has a vast knowledge of many subjects, keeps up on current events. He's fluent in Chinese Mandarin, German, Japanese, Spanish, Vietnamese, and basic Russian. He can communicate in Morse code and has a photogenic memory. And in fact, the dialogue in season one suggests that he may not even be as mentally unstable as some characters think that he is.
So
It's more of a playoff to keep him out of trouble from being hunted down with the rest of them. They're kind of like protecting Murdoch, you might say, and keeping him so he keeps faking the insanity.
they're being crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so he can stay locked up there. And of course, they break him out when they need him. Um, I saw something interesting about the whole Murdoch thing earlier, and I don't know if I can find it right off the bat, but the hospital that they filmed the outside shots of, they were of a hospital. There was two different ones. There was one that was uh, pre-earthquake. There was some earthquake there in California that caused the first one they used to not be available anymore. So they had one that was pre-earthquake and one that was post-earthquake. The one that was post-earthquake was also used in Grey's Anatomy years down the road
Interesting.
for their
I
TV show.
always thought it looked a little bit like St. Elsewhere, like the outside of like the hospital from St. Elsewhere.
Yeah,
I always
yeah,
thought it resembled that. So
yeah. I don't think it was that, but um. Oh, and I just found out the Mr. T thing. So Mr. T, Brandon Tartikoff was impressed with Mr. T in Rocky 3 in 1982.
wow, well that makes sense.
So when he seen that, he thought to himself, "That's the one." That talks about the series originally being conceived by NBC executive Brandon Tartikoff. Now, Stephen J. Cannell was the one that wrote it, right?
Yes.
And this was
Frank,
not
I think Frank Lupo was
Frank
like
Lupo,
executive producer or
right?
something. So,
Right, exactly. And he was this is not the thing that Cannell envisioned the way that the show went. He envisioned it completely different. But when he got there and talked to the people at NBC, they said, "Here's what your show is going to be,"
yeah.
and they
He just
ran
said,
and they
"This is
ran with
it,
it.
man. This is it."
Hey, it's like it's like what? Look, do you want your show to be on air? Do you want to make money? It's basically if you're Stephen J. Cannell, you're thinking to yourself, all right, do I want to be stubborn and say, nope, this is my way, this is my baby, this is how I envisioned it? Or do you take what they say and you go with it? So, uh,
I always thought that it was really cool. You know how at the very end of the show, like after the credits would roll, you would see Cannell like sitting at the typewriter with the
mhm,
pipe sitting in his, or I think at one part he had like a cigarette, like a smoking pipe, and he was sitting there typing, and he grabs the paper and he
it
throws it
slings
up,
it up in the air. Yeah.
yeah, and then it goes into the CCC.
Now,
So
wasn't that several different shows that Cannell wrote that would
yeah,
happen at the end of it?
yes,
That's like his
yeah.
signature
Well,
thing, let you know it was his show.
at the very end of the credits, he would always see him sitting there and he'd be typing and then he'd throw the paper up and
Right. Well, now Brandon Tartikoff, like I mentioned, he was influenced by movies like The Dirty Dozen and Road Warrior. Murdock was inspired by Bruce White's character Mick Belker from Hill Street Blues in
oh,
'81. Now
nice.
I don't remember enough about Hill Street Blues to know who that is, so I
Mm,
never
I do.
do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I mentioned being impressed with Mr. T and Rocky 3. Um, the concept that these guys were on the run from the government for a crime they didn't commit, which technically they did commit, but it was under direct orders of superiors
Mhm.
based on other information. If it was today's day and age, they would call it quote unquote disinformation and probably block our podcast. But
Yeah, exactly.
right, but I mean,
or it'd be classified or documented, and then they'd be like, you could read part of it, and then part of it be blocked out, and then you
right,
could read part of it, and then it'd be blocked out again.
then they'd make me mad. I had to go out and buy myself a fake mohawk cap to put on my head and
That's
walk
right.
around
That's
going, "I pity
right.
the fool who messes
I
with me,
pity the
Mister
fool.
C." But yeah, anyway, they the army was always chasing after him, trying to pick him up, which is funny because I don't know in what reality people think the MPs and the sergeant or colonel from the
Yeah,
army
Colonel.
have any kind of jurisdiction in state to state laws to pick people up. It's not
But
even
they don't.
they're not even the ones that track down people to go AWOL. It's the FBI that does that. So I don't know why, but the concept it's it's for entertainment, right? So I mean the concept was still good. I loved it. I thought it was a fun thing because they're constantly looking over their shoulder to see if Colonel Lynch was the first one
Yeah.
assigned to it. And one of the funniest things was the first episode or second episode. Lynch has found them at Universal Studios or wherever they were. That looks like Universal Studios, and
Mm.
Hannibal is in that Godzilla looking outfit.
Yeah, the alligator.
No, it's not an alligator. It's like a creature from the deep thing, but it looks like a little miniature Godzilla or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And so he's got the little patch pulled across with his neck where you can see his face sticking out,
Yeah. And he's
cigar
like,
in his
come here.
mouth.
Come here.
And he's daring him, you know. And Lynch is like, look at him. He's daring me to come over there. He goes, let him step away another 5 feet, and we got him. And of course, he ends up going that extra few feet. And he's like, now punch it. And they go to take off, and he reaches over and hits the switch, and the whole thing starts flooding, you know. So Lynch is the first one that has spent many episodes trying to catch these guys and he can never catch them. And
uh,
in between the time they're running from them, Marty, they're doing basically they're like we'll call them heroes for hire.
Heroes for her.
That's it's what we'll call them because they're helping people who can't help themselves get overcome some kind of issue, maybe like a gang or some little boss strong arming people and
Yeah.
yeah.
I think one of the episodes was something to do with like moonshining.
Yes. Yes,
So,
John Amos. That was just on recently. John Amos co-starred in that. He was a friend of theirs from Vietnam. If you don't remember John Amos, he was the one that played the father in Good Times, and he was also in Die Hard 2 as one of the bad guy elements that McClane had to end up fighting.
yeah,
So yeah, you could have had people who ran the valley that was blocking people's vegetables from going to market, and they were because they're in there so they can take over all the farms in the area and have a monopoly on it, or it could be someone who just they're an actual mobster or a gangster
yeah,
or
yeah,
something that
yeah.
they stop them.
Or better yet, you mess with Mr. T's. You mess with BA's mother. You're
Yeah,
gonna get you are gonna regret that.
B.A. Baracus, you mean the leader of the A team? Scooter?
Yeah, Scooter.
Scooter was the leader of the A team.
Scooter. Yeah.
Oh, that was a great episode there, actually.
Mhm.
Um, Now one of the fun things about about the series, Marty, was the whole running gag that Mr. T won't fly. The B.A. Baracus won't fly.
That's right.
And they don't tell you why he won't fly. Now years down the road, I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. Years down the road, they made a movie of the A Team, and they show you the reason why BA won't fly no more because they was in a
Oh,
helicopter.
because they scared the hell out of me.
Well, it was in a helicopter escaping, didn't have his seatbelts on, and the side door is open, and Murdock does this upside down, sideways thing to dodge something being shot at him, and he actually falls out. He's in midair, and Face catches him by the wrist, and he's just dangling out there for a little bit till they get him pulled in, and he's catatonic at that point.
Mm,
He's just out of it. So they kind of explain it in the movie, but never really in the TV series. Well, he
right.
won't fly, especially if Murdoch is on behind
Mhm.
it. But
The only time that he ever did fly, and they didn't have to knock his ass out, was the episode where he went and seen his mother.
no, they end up having to knock him out, but not in a bad way. If you
Yeah.
remember, he takes everything in stride. He's on the runway. They get up in the air, and he's still gripping the side handles like he didn't want to be
Oh,
there.
that's right. And then
And
they
then,
knock him out.
well,
Yeah.
they gave him gas,
Yeah.
some knockout gas to knock him out. So, but every other time the running gag is how do we get him on the plane this time? So anywhere from what knockout powder in his milk
Yeah.
to some kind of a pill that dissolves in it to putting knockout powder on his burger,
Mhm.
uh, or
or
just
hit him with a 2x4 and knock
yeah, just
him out.
flat out knocking him out with a 2x4. He's a big dude, and when he wakes up in the other country, he's like, "Man, this is the last time y'all gonna do me this way. Ain't gonna happen no more, Hannibal. You understand me? I'm gonna
Mhm.
be I'm gonna be taking it to all of you soon." And in one episode, he gets what he wants, right? They're impersonating police officers that he's deputized. Hannibal tells him, BA is an officer of the law. You're deputized. You can't put your hands on your coworkers or anybody else like that. So he tells him, he says, the only way he get him to calm down was he promised when the thing was over that he could get his revenge on him and however whatever way he wanted. So he was
Mhm.
always every time he'd see Face, he'd just grin and laugh. And Face was more worried about what was to come than what he could do now.
Mhm.
So they had a very fun thing all the way through there. Um, by the time the fourth season got around here, the ratings were still pretty good, but they were starting to decline. Um,
Yeah, but
and
they brought on way too many people. It seemed
well,
like it was like you had the four,
yeah.
but then you had what was her name, Amy?
Okay, so they had Amy to start with. She was the reporter
Yeah,
that hired them to find her boyfriend or something like that. And
and
uh,
then she stuck around after. So
well,
it
she
was
stuck around because she basically threatened to expose him, but she also told them, I can be your eyes and ears in ways that you don't understand. I got all these connections with the paper and everything. So then Hannibal thought that might be a good idea. In all reality, George Papard did not like having her or Marla, what was her last name? Um,
oh, I could have
the one,
swore I
one
could
that
have
played
swore
Tanya.
yeah I could have swore one of the girls that came on later. She was also in the Fall Guy with Lee Majors. She was
No, no,
she was like his boss or
no. That
person.
was Marky Post, who did Night Court. That was Marky Post.
Okay.
He's the one that was giving him the jobs and everything on that. Melinda Culea was Amy, and I can't remember Tanya's entire name. It's Marla something. But George Papard didn't want either one of them on there, and he didn't hesitate to tell them that they didn't belong on the show. That they weren't needed. And the reason why Melinda Culea, who played Amy, was gone is because she practically talked herself out of a role, I guess. They wanted her to maintain what she did because it was working. She wanted more screen time, more dialogue, and she wanted to learn how to fight to be a part of the fight scenes.
Mm, yeah,
And
no.
so, in all reality, if she had stuck with what she had, she probably would have been on the show for
The
however long
better
it went,
one.
truth be known. But that happened and she was gone. which didn't hurt George Papard's feelings at all. And then they brought in Marla to play Tanya, and Tanya didn't even get in the credits. I mean,
Yeah.
at least Amy.
But wasn't that the one that Face was always hitting on with
He, he
Tanya?
he did until she became a
Yeah,
part of the official part of the team,
yeah,
and then he kind of laid off for the most part. But she didn't. She never was as cool as Amy, though. I mean, she had some contacts with the paper as well, but she was never as cool as Amy.
right.
Matter of fact, Amy even had the cool name, Amy Amanda Allen. So they could call her Triple A.
Yeah, Triple
So,
M.
so I mean, they had the better deal with her. Start end of the fourth season, going into the fifth season. Uh, like you mentioned earlier, things with Mr. T and George Papard were overflowing at this point. So they brought in Robert Vaughn, who's a good friend of Papard's, thinking that he could calm things down and bring some peace between the two of them. And it just didn't work out too well. He was
He,
able to keep he
he
was able to keep the
probably,
peace.
yeah, he probably made it worse. He probably egged it on a little bit.
Well,
Yeah,
no, according to the reports I read, it said he was able to keep the peace basically, but even he himself didn't like Mr. T's brash attitude at times.
hmm,
So, but it could be because he was good friends with Papard too that he said it. For all I know, I don't know for sure.
yeah,
It's kind of hearsay. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we couldn't use this in a court of law if we wanted to. It's just hearsay. So
right.
we can believe what we choose to believe on it at that point.
And,
Um,
and my thing is, I mean, like you said, first season, second season, third season. By the third season, that's when they brought in Amy, I think.
no, Amy was
Um,
there from the get go. Tanya came in the second season.
Okay, but like first
Or
three seasons,
I'm sorry, Tanya might have come in third. I'm not.
yeah,
Amy could have been there 2 seasons, and then Tanya for the
yeah,
third. But
yeah.
by the fourth season, I don't remember any her
No,
or Amy.
by the fourth season, I think both of them were gone, and I think it was just then that's when they brought in the Mexican kid.
That was
Uh,
toward the end of the season, though.
yeah,
His name, he was a guy named Frankie, and he
yeah,
was a special effects guy at the movies where Hannibal was working.
right.
Um,
But like you said, like first season, second season, third season, all great. I mean, they're helping out the little guy. And even in like most of the fourth season, they were still doing that. They were helping the little guy. But by the time they got to the fifth season, and like you said before, they bring in uh, I, you said his name was Stockwell.
uh, yes, it was Hunt Stockwell was the
Yeah,
name, and I don't know what organization he led. They never really told you what it was. It was one of those organizations that was supposed to be like CIA or FBI or
or the
but
shop.
they never really I don't remember if they ever gave the name of the company that he worked for. But they
Mhm.
had all the intelligence, the deep state intelligence, things that were secret that no one knew, uh favors to all the big wig people out there you can call in. You know, he had
Yeah,
the connections basically.
and that's where it lost me. By then, it was like they stopped helping the little man, and it was like now it's take care of the big bad that lives over in this country before they blow up America.
It's almost like, if I remember correctly, he inadvertently helped them escape by kind of pushing Murdock and Frankie in the right direction to get them busted out. And I think he also helped at the end of it with the medication that slowed their heart rate down and the blanks that they replaced the real bullets with. They replaced them with the blanks. Uh, so they appeared dead after they were at the firing range. They were caught. They wasn't escaping, and they were put close immediately into the firing range to put this to be done with it. Basically, go
Mhm.
ahead and put this thing to bed and be done with it.
Mhm.
But then, of course, they're not dead. They get picked up by the right people and their bodies taken out. They're brought back, and he tells them, work for me, and I'll make sure that after you've put in your time with me, that your debt is fulfilled. Basically, it's like they're earning credits toward their freedom.
Mhm.
However, now the government knows they're still alive because the bodies turned up missing, and now there's things going on that have their name and all attached to it. So, but
Right.
like you said, we still never see no cops come after them, no
Yeah, no
MP3,
more,
no
no more,
MPs, no.
yeah, no more Colonel Decker or nothing like that. I
The
mean,
last person that was that they came after them was Fulbright.
yeah,
It was Lynch and Decker. Decker played by Lance Legault, and then Fulbright was looking. Now Fulbright later on though actually enlisted their help to go get his daughter, or he thought
yeah,
it was his son at first that was
mhm,
left behind in Vietnam
yeah,
because he'd heard all these things and read about them, but they were still wanting criminals. And he said to him finally that he actually believed that they probably were, better than what the army described it. And he was glad he worked with them and everything. So
now, what?
and his daughter ended up being Tia Carrera.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Remember that?
yeah.
And she was going to be the new addition to the show. But
Mm,
but
no more show.
no, but Carrera was under contract to General Hospital, and she couldn't get out of it, so her role was dropped. And then shortly afterwards, the show was dropped. So it's probably best for her she never took it.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, because
Um.
I think the fifth season, like you said before we even started recording, the fifth season there was no season finale or no mid season whatever.
And
It was
do you know the
just
reason why was for that? I found out why finally.
mm,
The ratings had dropped so bad for the show in the fifth season that they would not pick up the remaining 9 episodes that would have made 22 episodes that year, and
yeah,
probably a way to write out the ending of it. They refused to buy those 9, and it was 2 episodes short of reaching the magic number of 100. Because if you're a 100 episode show, that guarantees that you're going to be on TV for pretty much the rest of your life because you're going to be like in syndication on different whatever cable channel wants to pick you up.
well, I mean, I still catch episodes of the A Team on. There's a free
Pluto.
there's a free channel on Heroes and Icons on.
There, well, okay, yes, but if you go to Pluto, the app Pluto on your most TVs or on Roku's or something, download Pluto. Basically free channels, free movies. You get old TV shows broken down into drama, comedy, classic, you
Action.
know, what science fiction, whatever the case may be. But in this one channel, which is the action channel, it's broken up into several different shows. And they'll have hours, they'll have like blocks of hours set aside for one show. And the A Team is on there like that. So you might watch 6 hours of A Team and
Yeah,
then turn around and see 6 hours of Knight Rider, followed by 6 hours of uh,
Airwolf or
Magnum PI or Airwolf or something. So, um,
or maybe even the Equalizer. The
the
old
old
show, the
Equalizer,
Equalizer. Yeah,
quite possible. So and you can actually watch it whenever you want to on there if you just look that up and listen on Pluto and look for it on there. It should tell you when about times you can watch it and everything. Um, what was I going to say about the fifth season there?
now, now I know you mentioned the 2010 movie that they made,
Yeah,
the A Team.
yeah.
Okay, in your point of view of the movie, did you like it, or did you just think it was just kind of like it was just kind of a movie that they just made because it had the 18, attached to, the name of the movie. I mean,
I
If
liked it
it,
for what it was, Marty. For what it was. It was not a great remake of the TV show, The A Team. I didn't feel like their character renditions were that great. I mean, Liam Neeson had the one-liners down. I love it when a plan comes together, or stuff like that. He played Hannibal, but I still didn't think he did an excellent job with it or anything. You got the MMA fighter. Was it Curtis Jackson playing Mr. T?
was it? I thought it was John Michael White.
No,
That wasn't him.
oh,
Okay, I thought it was.
oh, absolutely not. Um, but I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I think uh, for me personally, I thought the movie was okay for what it was. The only saving grace was the dude that played Murdock. He he was hilarious in that
Yeah,
movie.
he played
So,
it. He embraced the role of being loony and psycho, and
exactly. Yeah.
all right, the
And,
other day at work, at my job I'm at, somebody wanted me to hand them a trash bag from the box next to me.
mm,
Immediately, when I hear that in my mind, I'm seeing Murdoch in the jail cell. It's not jail cell, but a little place where keeping
oh,
in
the
his.
padded pen.
No, but they had tried to get locked up so he could break somebody out, and he kept yelling, "I want some trash bags!
Oh yeah.
I need some trash
Trash
bags!
bags.
Trash bags!
Trash
Trash bags! I need
bags.
it! Trash bags! Give it to me!
Mm.
Trash bags!" And the nurse at court goes, "What is he hollering about?" And the guy's like, "Man, the lunatic's been yelling for trash bags for 2 hours now." She said, "Well, give him one. Maybe he'll shut up or suffocate in it or something. I don't know." So he
Mm.
passes the trash bag to me. He's like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love my trash bags. I gotta have my trash bags." He's just rubbing the trash bag, right?
Wasn't it Face that was playing the doctor?
Dr. Pepper, you
Yeah,
mean?
Dr.
Yes.
Pepper.
Dr. Pepper wrote this book for inmate rehabilitations and classes that they can offer. But they had at his home state there, Louisiana. I think it's Louisiana. Um,
Yeah.
it was funny. The trash bag. The reason why he wants all the trash bags, um, is because of what Hannibal. The reason why he asked for those two lawn chairs, so people can sit in them when they're getting their hair cut. He's the hairstylist
Mm.
supposedly, and they comes in with BA, and BA plays the role of a like deaf mute or something, so he can't talk or nothing.
I,
But anyway, whenever they get out, they're escaping from the prison they get themselves into. You find out why he wanted the trash bag so bad. They're hooking them up to these lawn chairs that Hannibal got a hold
yeah,
of,
and then they air lifted out of there.
but they're using the hair dryers to
Yeah, I know that would not work. that
man. Some of the stuff they built in a matter of minutes. It seemed like on the show.
oh,
The things, man, it was so great and so in so
I'm
smart.
telling you, man. BA had a little MacGyver in
Oh,
him.
yeah, no
That is
doubt.
no joke.
No,
He could take a stick of gum and just a string and turn it into a welding torch.
or something, right?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something. But
Oh,
if you ever notice, it's crazy that towards the end of the episode, at every episode, they are like, they're stripping a car down,
right.
there's like a junk, like big truck on the yard, and they got that mug that hasn't ran in like 15 years to like turn over, and I'm like, yeah,
And
that
it's
would
hey,
not that would
and
not happen.
it's ready to go on race day too. You know,
Yeah,
that just doesn't that doesn't happen just like that. It just does not. But once again, for the creativity aspect of the show, it was pretty smart what they did
yeah.
and everything.
Mhm.
James
But
Coburn. I don't know if you know this or not. James Coburn was considered for the role of Hannibal. Looking back in hindsight with James Colburn, do you think he could have pulled it off and done real well with it?
I think so. I think you could probably do that. But I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like George Papard. That was kind of like I couldn't see anybody else probably pulling that part off.
See, it's hard for us to think that because we got so used to seeing him there. That's why we have a hard time doing movie recast at times because we're like, man, they want me to recast like Ghostbusters this week, but how are you going to replace the four
Chevy,
guys that played Ghostbusters? You know, I mean,
Mhm. I would be like if they had like said instead of Bill Murray being the main character and Ghostbusters, they replaced him with Chevy Chase or John Candy or Steve Martin or
well, if you think about it, and you're going to pick four of the guys for Ghostbusters, let's say you don't have none of the originals. Did you got to have you got to lose Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray? You got to get some star power back in there. So John Candy and who's the other one you said?
Steve Martin, Chevy Chase, and let's
Oh,
see.
we had somebody that was non Three Amigo though.
Oh, a non 30 Amigo?
Oh, well, you just said the name a while ago, and I forget who it was you said.
John Candy, he wasn't a 30 Amigo. But Chevy Chase and Steve Martin was. So,
Hmm. Well,
hmm,
it definitely used. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. Did you have any of the toys or the comic books that the A-Team put out?
I did not. I did not,
At
actually.
one point in time, I had a couple of the figures, and I had all four of the releases of the comic books when they came out. If I had known in hindsight that later on comic books really were worth money, maybe I would
Would
have
you have
kept them.
kept it?
Maybe I would have kept them here recently. You know my love for the movie The Last Starfighter. It's one of my favorite
Yeah,
80s movies.
yes.
So, I mean, I have looked online and there was Last Starfighter comic books that were put out, just like the A-Team did.
Hmm.
And it was four of them, and I bought all four of them. They wasn't very expensive, so I thought, well, I'm gonna look up the A-Team, maybe I'll pick them up too. I was like, no, that wouldn't happen because people got a lot more value in those A-Team comic books.
Man.
So I didn't buy them or anything. It doesn't mean I won't buy them in the future, but as of right now, no, not so much. Um,
I had some technical difficulties with my phone just a second ago.
I seen that. What happened there, sir?
My pedestal that it was on, it actually took a dive.
I pity the pencil and don't take
Yeah.
heed.
He got hit by Mr. T.
Not that we're being what do you call it, a sponsor, not that we're being sponsored by the show or by the product or anything, but I gotta say that when you're thirsty and you're looking for something to drink, don't
Mm,
nobody better mess with Mr. T,
yeah,
Milo T.
Mr.
You know,
Milo T.
that's right. No one should mess with him. Uh, I should have got a more decorative glass and put about 35 pounds of gold on it, like he wore in every TV show.
Exactly, exactly. Or or by the time the end of the show, he was down to one big gold chain. Which was crazy. The
Yeah.
whole show, he's wearing this, looks like it weighs about 50 pounds of like gold necklaces around his neck.
Well,
And
it was like
and by the end of the show, it was just one big gold chain.
originally it was 35 to 40 pounds of gold he wore in his neck in the TV series
That
for
is
the first little
crazy.
while, but then they kind of
That
knocked
is
it down some.
crazy. You would think after a while that would weigh, that would weigh heavy on somebody. You know,
Oh man, I had something else for you. I saw in the cool stuff area earlier. Let me see if I can come across it again here. Um, uh, there's references made all the time between the A Team and stormtroopers. You know, Because stormtroopers can't hit nothing, it seems like, and apparently the A team
Their
don't
team
either.
can't neither. Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
But it seemed like it wouldn't matter if the car flipped over 50 times, or if they even shot the car up. That person is coming out alive and unscathed. Not
exactly,
a
yes.
not a bump on them.
And that was a running gag on the show for a while. Stephen Cannell said was about um, how far you can go before fans start calling it ridiculous that people are not dying in car crashes or car wrecks or car falling off the cliff or um,
or getting blowtorched. I mean,
right, right,
yeah,
right.
like with the homemade blowtorches, and then the car is just soaked and like fluid, and then lit on fire. So I mean, yeah.
Yes, yes. To show how ridiculous it finally got in the fifth season, there's a helicopter that is trying to. They got someone trying to assassinate somebody from a foreign country, and they're there to protect him. And they get him to move out of the way, but the helicopter they end up chasing it, and that helicopter crashes into the side of a mountain.
And then everybody comes out of it.
Well, it crashes, and then a small explosion happens, and it lands, and the things that turn around and around are all bent in and messed up. But
Yeah, they come out unscathed.
yes,
Not a
they
not a hair moved.
no, not all. They lived through it all. They lived
Mhm.
through it for sure.
Or I can't remember what episode it was, but there there was an episode where I think it might have been either, I know it was later in the season, but it was something to do with Murdock in the ocean, and he was swimming around with a bunch of great white sharks, and they were coming up on him, and they're about to chomp, 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 and then he just barely gets out of the water before they get him. I
Yeah.
mean, I was like, that, yeah, I mean, that shark's gonna tear you up.
Dun-dun,
Yeah.
dun-dun, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, there was a funny thing I read earlier when the cast returned from the third season summer hiatus. They had all put on a significant amount of weight, which made them bet on who could shed the extra pounds first. Who you think won the deal?
uh, Dirk Benedict.
Dwight Schultz.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that I mean, he was super. He was pretty thin, and in the show to begin with. So
yeah. Uh, well, we're getting close to the end here. I don't want to go too long. I mean, we kicked around the idea of making little 15-minute videos and things, right? But how do you squeeze the A team into 15 minutes, man?
but yeah, that is super hard to do.
Yeah, it is, and we're gonna find that happening a lot more and more with us when we start picking out different TV series and stuff to do.
Mhm.
But we'll
I I want to throw out a suggestion on another good one to
yes,
cover maybe in January, or yeah, to cover in January. And I'll get your opinion on this too.
yes.
Do some quantum leap.
Quantum Leap will have to be done for sure. Just like one of your mentions earlier beforehand, talking about BJ McKay and his best friend Bear.
That's right.
Not
BJ
many
and the Bear.
people, not many people remember or even know of that show. But it
Exactly.
was a very fun show with Greg Evigan in it before he was on My Two Dads, and had a monkey that rode around with him everywhere.
Everywhere
He
you
was
went.
a chimp,
Yeah.
and then everywhere he went, the chimp went with him. That was Bear, I believe.
Yeah, that was Bear.
So, um, if you have anything TV wise that you want us to cover and talk about, let us know. You can reach out at retrolife4u at gmail.com to us. We have a regular podcast. If you like the movies from the 80s, you can catch on Spotify as well as iTunes, and mostly anywhere you find podcasts available will have it. But for the places that don't, you get the main places I mentioned. We're at Instagram. We're on Facebook at Retro Life for You. Um, you can just stop by there, give us a follow. Tell people about us. If you like the show, make sure you're telling people about this great new podcast you found called Retro Life for You. It talks about the '80s movies they used to love growing up watching, and that their YouTube channel is starting to just explode with new content and having fun stuff like the TV series with the A Team we talked about. So lots of good plans coming up for us in the future when it happens. At least it's going to be a little behind that still, but we plan on getting there as quick as we can. And if this guy right here gets his phone fixed, we might be a whole lot more done soon. I don't know because
Yeah,
Marty,
exactly.
we got quite a few things Marty has to be a part of our regular podcast for the movies, the 1980s movies. Right now, currently, we have Christmas Vacation that we just did.
Which is one of my favorite.
And his
That
next,
a Christmas story.
mhm,
I got my three that I watch each year.
Chris,
A Christmas story, which you can't help from not seeing it because it's on 24. It's on 24/7. I mean, it's like
right?
and, and Christmas Vacation. That is a must. I have to watch that. And my third is Bill Murray's Scrooge. It's an excellent movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it.
Well, it's basically that timeless classic. You get Scrooge visiting by the three angels, right?
Yeah,
He's
but it's Bill Murray style.
right, Bill Murray style. He has his own particular brand of humor
Mhm.
that you. But honestly, though, if you either you like him or you don't. If you don't like him, you're probably not going to like his portrayal of Scrooge. But Scrooge is funny, though. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't see if you put aside, say you don't like that particular guy's acting chops in previous movies, don't count this in your previous movies. Give him a shot on it because it's definitely one worth watching.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
definite. Uh, let's see, where are we at
And
here?
then
We do
and
we
then
move
and then
over.
we can all and then when we get together on the thing coming up this month,
Yeah.
we can argue it back and forth until we're blue in the face. And you know what I'm talking about. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not
And
a Christmas movie?
if you want to answer to that, just dig back few episodes back. I mean, not
Yeah,
when I
I
say a
heard
few,
Charles.
I don't mean a few two or three. I mean a few like maybe 15 to 20 episodes back. And myself and Ray Franklin have the discussion. He's against it being a Christmas movie. I'm for it being a Christmas movie, and
That's
that's the
right.
discussion we had. So,
I'm for it being a Christmas movie.
so
I mean, it's Christmas from beginning to the end. I mean,
well, see, there
it's
you go. So, see, that's something else they can email us about right there. What their thoughts are on Christmas movies, what your favorites are, and where do you stand with that particular movie?
exactly. And I want everybody to comment on that because I myself, it's a Christmas movie. Chris just said it. It's a Christmas
Yes,
movie.
and so
I,
many Christmas references in it to top it off. I mean, there's too many references for Christmas not to pay attention to it and notice that. So,
yeah.
it's definitely a Christmas movie.
And
Um,
and my thing is, they wouldn't play the movie so much during December if it wasn't a Christmas movie.
that too. There you go. It's that too. So, Marty, we're gonna wrap this one up. It was fun talking about the A team, reminiscing about the A team, and
Oh yeah,
just remembering
definitely.
that. We'll pick us out another good one here soon. We'll try to mix and match some things up if we can't get multiples done here soon.
Mhm.
Get some
Oh,
old sitcoms in as well as some of the old uh, fantasy like shows like Greatest American Hero.
oh
That
yeah,
was that was a
that
fun one.
was a good one. That
Yeah,
was a
the
good
fun one. We may even tackle some of the action cop series like Hunter.
one. Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you never know where we'll go with it. There's a lot of good things out there to talk about for TV.
Mhm.
And as I
Right.
mentioned before, we'll break out into the movie. From movies and TV. We'll have some toy and collectible talks. We'll have some sports talks, some classic sports. We'll have
And music,
music for
music.
sure. Some music.
Headbangers Ball, Headbangers Ball.
That's right. That's right. Ricky Rackman.
Ricky Rackman.
And we'll get this. It's gonna be a blast. I can't wait to get all this underway with the channel. All the podcasts go up on there. Because as we record them with webcam like we are now, so all the podcasts go on there, and you can listen, you can watch it on YouTube. Every Thursday when release that they release at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then of course the stuff like Marty and I are doing right now, I can list them at any time. They're extra content stuff. There's nothing to keep us on a particular straight and narrow line with it. But when if you just put that notification bell on and follow us on YouTube, you will get notified every time something new comes up there. And
Yep, just hit that bell. Hit that bell.
and hopefully, I don't know if we want to do another action show next, or skip to a sitcom or two, and then bounce back again, or just go to like sci-fi if we have anything good sci-fi in that time frame.
Oh, there's plenty of 80s sci-fi to cover on TV. So,
I mean, we didn't have any what do you call it? Drawing a blank on it, Marty.
Hmm.
But regardless, though.
Well,
Anyway.
I know you mentioned like doing possibly Cheers, Silver Spoons.
Well, those are some of the
those
sitcoms I tossed out there
sitcoms,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, I tossed them and see what you thought about doing those. There's so much out there, just like the movies. So many out there that I want to do. Even give you another example. Right after this show went off the air, um, whatever hour time slot that was when it came on, they had a movie. Oh, I'm starting a movie. What was the show? Since we
They
were just
came on.
talking,
They came on after the 18.
yeah, we were talking about them being Vietnam vets, right? After the show, I'm sorry, Riptide.
Riptide.
Wasn't it? Well, then that was about former Vietnam vets. There was 3 of them, and they were Vietnam vets. Now it wasn't quite like the 18 where they used, a lot of access to submachine guns and stuff like that. They were going around the country being chased by the military, nothing like that.
Right.
But they were like a private eye company or something along those lines. They were acting like so. Anyway, I'm gonna get us off topic again and forward. We're trying to break out of here. We'll have plenty more things coming out for you guys to enjoy. As you can tell, we really enjoy talking about because we don't want to quit. But we gotta draw a line somewhere. So we will catch you guys on the next episode, and hopefully we'll have a good one. But like I said, send us some suggestions of what you want to see, and let us know. Until next time, Marty, we're out of here.
All right, later.